This year, for the first time, social media and video networks as a source of news are ahead of both TV and also owned and operated news websites and apps. I would say it's about the way that people are discovering news and consuming it. And this year, for the first time, social media and video networks as a source of news are ahead of both TV and also owned and operated news websites and apps. And this is a trend that we've seen developing in recent years. And it's a factor, it's a product of two things. So social media consumption and usage itself isn't actually growing very much, but what we're seeing is a decline in the use of other platforms such as television, broadcast news, as well as going direct to a news organization's website or its app. And as a result of that, social media and video networks are ahead for the first time. And there seems to be a bit of a paradox going on, because there seems to be a tension between what people think and what they're doing. So as I say, we see social media out in front in terms of news consumption. But I think partly because of that reliance on this third-party discovery of news, we're seeing trust in news going down overall. So this year, the percentage of people globally who are saying that they trust news most of the time is at its lowest point since we started tracking this data. So 37% of people say they trust news most of the time, and that's down 3 percentage points from 40% last year. There seems to be a gap opening up between that sort of general anxiety and nervousness, which we see reflected in high degrees of news avoidance, in growing concerns about what's fake and what's real online. So those are going up, but actually if you look at trust in individual news brands, so in the markets wherever we may be in Europe or Asia, Latin America, North America, around the world, actually the trust in those individual news brands does not seem to be going down in a proportional way to the fall in trust overall. So as I say, there's something about broader concerns about the environment or the context in which people are consuming news, but reliance on those individual news brands that people know and often have grown up with and they have sort of deep relationships with doesn't seem to be changing as much. The data this year, when we asked people, are you using an AI chatbot, so ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Perplexity or something like that to consume news, we do see that growing fast. So in 2025, 7% of people said that they were doing it. That's gone up this year to 10% of people across the world who are now saying they're using these AI chatbots. And I would describe that as kind of significant, fast, but not explosive growth. I think in other aspects of our everyday lives, you would see the line for usage of AI being a bit steeper than that. And I think partly this comes down to this trust question that, as I said earlier, 37% of people trust news overall, but actually news on AI, the trust levels in AI is significantly lower, around about 20%. And I think people are reflecting a general wariness. I think there's a high degree of awareness that you can't necessarily rely on everything that you get in terms of answers on an AI chatbot. So we're seeing fast growth, but not dramatic growth in terms of AI usage for news.